Hi there, folks. Welcome to the show. Dr. Dan Thompson here, and welcome to another episode of DocTalk. We have an exciting show for you today. We're going to talk with Dr. Bob Larson, who's the Coleman Chair here at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine. We're going to talk about a new tool to help control bovine viral diarrhea in your cow herd. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. DocTalk brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick. In Wamego, just a short drive down the yellow brick road.
Bob, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Well, it's always a treat to have you here on the show, and today is nothing different. Folks, this is Dr. Bob Larson. He is a professor here at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine, and he's the Coleman Chair and of Production Medicine. And Bob, we're going to talk about bovine viral diarrhea, but
Yes.
you know, maybe we ought to just start out and just start laying some of the foundation of what BVD really
Right.
is.
Bovine viral diarrhea, or BVD as it's more commonly known, is an important disease for beef cattle, and really for a number of reasons. For one thing, unlike other diseases, it really affects all age categories. So adult cattle can be affected with this virus, very young calves, feedlot calves, so really all segments of the beef and dairy industries have to deal with the BVD virus. So that makes it important. Also, it's a fairly serious disease in that diarrhea is in its name, so you would think that's an important part of the disease, but actually that's a pretty unusual sign that we see. It's a very strong immune suppressing virus, and so we will see it as a component of respiratory disease. We see it as a cause of abortions and poor calf health in young calves, and so it really affects a lot of the different body systems, and so it's a pretty important virus for beef cattle and dairy cattle producers.
Well, sounds like it has an effect on almost any kind of disease we see, and kind of sets animals up for that by suppressing that immune system.
That's exactly right. It's an important virus because it affects all aspects of the beef and dairy industries, and it's a broadly acting virus. It's going to affect the digestive tract, the respiratory tract, the immune system, and so it's an important virus.
Numbers of animals usually affected by this?
Well, many cattle in the United States are exposed, and if it's an adult healthy animal, the disease is relatively minor. But if that animal is pregnant, it can cause an abortion, or if it's young or if it's stressed due to any other reasons, because of its ability to suppress the immune system, we see a lot of other problems. So I couldn't give you an exact number, but it's one of the more common viral diseases that we see.
Other countries have eradicated it or done eradication programs.
That's true. Particularly some of the Scandinavian countries have eradicated this virus. They had a much lower beginning level of the disease to start with, and the way that they manage their herds, very little transport, pretty much stay on the farm where you were born and raised, that made that possible, although it wasn't easy for those countries either.
Right. And then, of course, the PI calf that everybody talks about. We got about 30 seconds here before the break, but
the PI calf is a special component of BVD, the disease, and its control. You can think of the PI calf as kind of the typhoid Mary. This is a calf that's shedding just tremendous amounts of this virus, and he or she is really the source of the virus for the herd or to be passed to a new herd.
Great. When we come back, we're going to continue with Dr. Larson talking about BVD and a new tool that they've developed to help control it in your herd.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Turn to a Central National Bank Ag Professional. You'll be in good company. They'll help you track expense lines, manage variable input costs, assess ground agreements, pick a crop protection plan. These times demand ag professionals. Central National Bank. You could profit from what they know. Ag operations run better on Central Time.
Central National Bank. Money for life.
Member FDIC in your hometown since 1884.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
DocTalk, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, joined by Dr. Bob Larson, who's the Coleman Chair, and he is a professor here in the Department of Clinical Sciences at Kansas State University. He's an epidemiologist, does a lot of work with disease control, specifically with beef cattle. And Bob, when we left for the break, we were talking about the importance of BVD as a disease. And we talked about some of the other countries, but when we start to talk about other countries eradicating it, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the route for us. What has made this possible here in the U.S.?
You know, there's been a lot of work on this disease really since it was discovered in the 1950s, and especially in the last couple of decades. The companies that develop vaccines have developed some very effective vaccines that are very good at decreasing the risk of this disease in herds where they're exposed. Like all vaccines, this vaccine performs well when the challenge is low to moderate. If the challenge is very severe, such as in the presence of one of those persistently infected or PI calves,
right.
That's when the exposure can overwhelm the immunity developed by a vaccine. So the fact that we've got some good vaccines available, and the other thing that's happened in the last 10 to 15 years is some very good, accurate diagnostic tests to find that persistently infected animal. When I was first in practice, it was very difficult to identify a persistently infected or PI animal, to differentiate them from other cattle. And as long as we couldn't find them and remove them from the population, it was very difficult to control this disease. So now with the advent of good, accurate, quick tests for this animal, as well as pretty good vaccines, we really have the tools necessary to try to really control it, decrease its impact in the nation's cattle.
So you can find the super shedder type animals,
That's
get
a good way
them
to say
out
it.
of there, and control the kind of the cold,
the low levels, yeah.
The kind of the lower level transfer. Well, I know that you mentioned there were lots of different groups, professional
Yes.
societies and producer groups, but who are some of those groups that have been behind making some of this happen?
Yeah. Several of the veterinary organizations took an early and active role because this disease is so important. It's one of the diseases that affects cattle pretty severely on a lot of different ranches. The Academy of Veterinary Consultants was one of the first organizations. It's a group of veterinarians they developed a BVD committee and began working on control strategies. Also, the American Association of Bovine Practitioners and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association have also had BVD control committees. And those committees, the people that have worked on those committees have worked very well together to kind of approach this as a team effort to try to develop a lot of good educational materials and kind of directing where some of the research went.
And it led to a web page, right?
That's right. And that's one of the very first steps I think that was very helpful was bvdinfo.org is a website where some of the best articles that have been written about BVD can all be found on one site.
Well, again, that website is bvdinfo.org, and you can get good information there on BVD. Bob, when we come back, we're going to dig into that tool that you all designed, and awfully glad that you've done it, glad that you're here today. We're glad that you're watching DocTalk. We're going to take a break, and afterwards, we're going to continue with Dr. Bob Larson. Don't go anywhere. Hey folks, it's Dr. Dan from DocTalk and Ag AM in Kansas, and that's my farm. Be sure to stop in and join us at the Kansas State Fair. We're going to be down there, we're going to be walking around, we're going to be in the birthing center. Join us, Come say hi. We can't wait to see you.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. This Meet the Veterinarian is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals. Dr. Brian Hudapol has been with the Veterinary Medical Clinic in Williamsburg, Iowa since 2001. He works primarily with cow-calf and feedlot operations and enjoys working with ultrasound, embryo transfer, and has been in charge of the heifer development program for the past 10 years. He and his wife have 3 children, and he enjoys spending time with his family as well as golfing and hunting. The BQA Tip of the Day, sponsored by Beringer Engelheim Vetmedica, Inc.
Hey there, folks. Welcome to today's Beef Quality Assurance Tip of the Day. And whenever you go through a beef quality assurance assessment, whether you use the tool for feedlots, stocker, or cow-calf operations, some of the things that go into feed accessibility, water accessibility, and cattle comfort are going to be checking the water tanks, which we should have clean, ample, fresh supply of water available. We have great management of our water tanks and great management of our feed bunks, and we make sure that the animals have fresh, ample feed supplied in bunks that they can reach and water supply that's available with enough space. Cattle comfort comes in the pen. If we have mud in the pen, we need to get that box blade out or our loader out and start to clear a spot where those animals have a comfortable place to lay down. Water tanks, feed bunks, and cattle comfort in the pen, all part of Beef Quality Assurance Tip of the Day.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
DocTalk, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back, folks. Dr. Dan Thompson here from the College of Veterinary Medicine with Dr. Bob Larson, who's a professor in clinical sciences. He's an epidemiologist that studies beef cattle diseases, veterinarian, and he is the Coleman Chair of Production Medicine here at Kansas State University. We're proud to bring him home. The Hiawatha, Kansas native.
That's right.
is back in northeast Kansas. And we're going to talk today about your bovine viral diarrhea BVD Consult. Sorry,
Yes.
I'll get spit out sooner or later. Anyway, we're going to talk about the BVD Consult that y'all have developed, and so let's jump right into it.
The BVD Consult is designed as a way to help beef cattle producers and their veterinarian design a control program for BVD that's really applicable to their ranch or farm, that fits exactly what they are dealing with. And it was designed to be similar to a phone conversation. All of us that work with BVD frequently get phone calls from producers or veterinarians, and there's a series of questions that we ask. So we're on one end of the phone asking questions, and then the person on the other end of the phone says yes or no. And then depending on how they answer those questions, we kind of go through a pathway in our heads of how we can best give them a control strategy. So we wanted to duplicate that, or kind of make that same type of a question and an answer type of a tool interactive on the internet. And so that's where BVD Consult came from. So a beef producer, and I'd like them to do it with their veterinarian, because sometimes the veterinarian can help explain some of the questions and exactly what goes on, but a beef producer can get on there by themselves if they want to. And so you go to the BVD Consult, which is right there at the front and center on bvdinfo.org, and you click on that, and the first question will be, do you currently have BVD in your herd? And if you know you do, you've diagnosed some cattle that have it, you just click yes. And for a herd that is positive, it asks them some specific questions about the different things. It gives you the opportunity. Can you do a certain management to get rid of it? Yes or no, and then depending on your answer, you go on down that path.
So basically, it's kind of a decision tree.
Yes.
Do you have the disease? Do you not have the disease? Do you want to get rid of it? Are you okay with it? Do you want to keep it out?
Right.
And then how you would manage
Right.
those.
There's a whole pathway for if you answer the question no, or honestly, if you don't know if you have BVD in your herd or not, you answer the no and go down that pathway. And it asks you some questions about the important decisions that you can make. You know, things like, do you test new cattle that you bring in? If you say, I haven't, and I don't, and so I'll click no, and you'll get some feedback saying, this is a pretty high risk area. Are you sure you want to do that? And if you go, yeah, I'm not going to test, then you go down that pathway and it'll give you an answer. It might tell you that you've left some holes in the control strategy, but it'll tell you exactly where you are. If you kind of go down that pathway and it gives you that warning of you've left a big hole in your disease control, you go, well, I didn't know it was important. I could do that. So you can go back, hit the back button, click yes, I can do that, and it'll take you down those pathways. So it gives you feedback as you're going along when you're making good decisions, bad decisions, or decisions that aren't necessarily good or bad. They're just going to be specific for your farm.
Wow. Well, folks, I suggest that you go to that website, bvdinfo.org. Lots of people have been involved, and we come back, we're going to talk with Dr. Larson a little bit about who was involved in developing this and how we might apply this to other diseases. You're watching DocTalk. Thanks for joining us.
Now another gardening tip with Annette Jackson.
Now's the time to overseed your lawn. The success of your lawn depends on the quality you plant and the proper fertilizer. Plant 100% weed-free seed with top-rated varieties tested by KSU. Always use Fertilome New Lawn Starter for faster, stronger root development. Don't waste time and money with lower quality seed from the box stores.
Join the Jackson's Greenhouse WIBW Garden Club and save 10% on your lawn seed and Fertilome New Lawn Starter.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This tip brought to you by Baytril 100 Enrofloxacin Injectable, now approved for use in controlling BRD in high-risk cattle. Baytril 100, right the first time, whether it's controlling BRD in high-risk cattle or treating BRD.
Hi there, and welcome to today's On the Farm Tip, sponsored by my friends over at Bear Animal Health. We're going to talk about proper use of antibiotics in food animals. The first thing we want to make sure is that we have a valid veterinary client-patient relationship so that we make sure we pick the right drug for the syndrome or illness that the animals have. We want to make sure we have the proper route of administration, make sure that we have the proper dosage rates, and make sure that we're doing things that it says to do on the label. We want to make sure that we follow and adhere to label directions for the proper withdrawal time, meaning from the time I treat the animal until the point in time that that animal is clear or ready for slaughter. These are some things that are very important, and that's your On the Farm Tip of the day, as sponsored by Bear Animal Health.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tarwater Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Hello, I'm Dr. Chris Blevins at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center, and I'm with you for a horse tip. Got to remember that a horse's feet are very important, and there's a aspect of everyday routine, just moving around, and use on the farm or in performance. When you look at a horse's hoof and the hoof capsule, cleaning out the hoof is very important because they can get a lot of debris. They can get rocks inside the grooves of their foot. They could even get a nail. So cleaning out the horse's feet are going to be very important, and assessing on a day-to-day basis, and while you're on rides, taking and having a hoof pick is also going to be important to keeping everything clean and safe. So again, keep your farrier and your veterinarian involved for keeping your hoof healthy and free of debris.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We are having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. DocTalk, brought to you by the Kansas Association of Wheat Growers and the Kansas Wheat Commission. Together, we are Kansas Wheat.
Folks, thanks for coming back to our final segment of DocTalk today. I'm joined by Dr. Bob Larson, who's a professor and the Coleman Chair here in the Department of Clinical Sciences at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine. And Bob, there were some people that were involved. In the making of this BVD Consult, and I know that you wanted to give kind of a shout out to some of those folks.
That's exactly right. First of all, I guess I should say, there's been people working on this disease for 50 or 60 years, and I guess a shout out to everyone in that in that lineage of research that have really helped us understand this disease. But the BVD Consult really came together because of some hard work by a group of people. Dr. Brad White and myself here at Kansas State University, both faculty members, as well as Dr. Sherry Merrill, a practitioner here in Kansas that did a lot of the legwork to get this done, really put in a lot of work. We also had a lot of help from some of our colleagues at other universities, Dr. Dave Smith at Mississippi State University, Dr. Dan Givens down at Auburn, Dr. Richard Randall at the University of Nebraska, as well as Dale Grodelution with Zoetis Animal Health, and they helped sponsor this as part of an educational grant.
Wow. It's a great team, great group of people. I'm very fortunate to know everybody on your team and that. But, the thing that interests me, we mentioned before we started the show that this could be a decision tool or a tool that could be extrapolated in many diseases or many different things. And how do you kind of vision that?
I really think this has the potential to be the way to teach disease control both to veterinary students as well as a good way to interact with producers themselves. In that, as proud as I am of the BVD Info website that has brought all the really good research papers into one location, but to really get good out of that, I'd have to read all those papers and digest them and understand them. The concept behind a BVD Consult is, as a veterinarian, I know the things that are most important to make a decision. Where you get your animals, what you're able to do vaccination-wise, things like that. So when I ask specific questions about that, then if I use the research to guide how does the best answer move from there, you can avoid having to send somebody to read a large number of really scientific papers, and instead we move them to the questions that we want to ask about the management that they can do or implement at their ranch. And then those of us at the university have read the papers and then used that science to then give the best answers. But we don't require people to go read all those papers. We've just kind of made it the decision points, the things that people can implement at their ranch, and so we think it has a real power to take all the work that those scientists have done and really boil it down into the action points.
Translation from the bench to the field.
Yeah, exactly right. And there's no reason to stop with BVD. There's a lot of diseases that cattle face, a lot of management decisions that would work really well with this decision tree, the series of questions that we ask. It would work well for a lot of different diseases.
Well, we appreciate you not only being on the show, but everything you do for a lot of different people.
It's good to be here. Thanks a lot, Dan.
Thank you. And thank you for watching DocTalk. Remember, we always want you to work with your local practitioner, and this BVD Consult will be a great tool to break out and visit with them about. If you want to know more about what we do here at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine, you can find us on the web at www.vet.ksu.edu. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. You've been watching DocTalk. We're sure glad you joined us, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.